Something is unraveling in Dallas right now that could completely reshape the Lakers' championship window for the next 3 seasons. Welcome to Lakers News Fan Report, your home for breaking news, insider analysis, and everything you need to know about our beloved Los Angeles Lakers. I'm here every single day bringing you the updates that matter, the moves that count, and today I've got information coming out of Texas that Lakers fans have been waiting to hear since one of the most controversial trades in recent NBA history went down. Let me take you back to understand why what's happening right now in Dallas matters so much to us here in Los Angeles. The NBA landscape changed dramatically when the Mavericks made the decision to send Luka Doncic to the Lakers in what many analysts immediately called one of the most lopsided trades in league history. At the time, Dallas believed they were getting a centerpiece to build around, a proven champion who could anchor their franchise for years to come. But the basketball gods have a funny way of correcting mistakes, and right now we're watching that correction happen in real time. The Mavericks organization is in complete disarray. General Manager Nico Harrison, the architect of that blockbuster deal, has been fired after the trade spectacularly failed to deliver the results Dallas expected. That's not speculation. That's not opinion. That's confirmed reporting from multiple sources. When a GM gets fired after making a franchise-altering trade, you know the situation has gone sideways in ways that nobody anticipated. And Harrison's dismissal is just the beginning of the domino effect that could bring one of the most significant players in Lakers history back home to Los Angeles. Think about what this means from a strategic standpoint. Dallas is now a franchise without clear direction, without their general manager, and with a roster that doesn't align with any coherent vision for the future. They drafted Cooper Flagg with the #1 overall pick, which signals they're pivoting to a youth movement and a complete rebuild. That's the only logical path forward for them at this point. But here's where it gets interesting for us as Lakers fans. When a team commits to rebuilding around a rookie, they need to clear out expensive veterans who don't fit the timeline. And there's one very expensive, very talented veteran sitting in Dallas right now who absolutely does not fit their rebuilding timeline. The situation has been developing rapidly over the past few weeks. ESPN's Tim McMahon, one of the most connected reporters covering the Mavericks, cited multiple team sources confirming that Dallas will be exploring the trade market ahead of the February deadline. That's not vague speculation. That's direct confirmation from people inside the organization that they're actively looking to make moves. And when you combine that reporting with the reality of their situation, there's really only one conclusion to draw about what's coming next. Now, you might have seen Mark Cuban trying to throw cold water on this narrative, telling The Athletic that Dallas won't be making trades because they want to try to win. But here's what you need to understand about that statement. Cuban is no longer the majority owner of the Mavericks. He doesn't have final say on personnel decisions anymore, even though he's serving as an advisor to the new ownership group. His comments sound more like someone trying to protect trade value than someone making actual decisions. If the entire league knows Dallas is desperate to move pieces, they're going to get lowball offers all day long. Cuban's playing the game, but the reality behind the scenes is much different than his public statements suggest. Let's talk about the basketball implications of what Dallas is facing. They gave up Luka Doncic, one of the 5 best players in the entire world, in exchange for a package centered around a star who's now 32 years old and dealing with injury concerns. That player has been held out for multiple weeks with a calf strain, which is exactly the kind of soft tissue injury that raises red flags for any team considering a trade. Dallas is staring at a situation where they sacrifice their franchise cornerstone and have nothing to show for it except a veteran on an expensive contract who doesn't match their rebuilding timeline. The math here is simple but painful for Mavericks fans. There is absolutely no way Dallas gets back equal value to what they gave up in the original trade. That deal is now officially a sunk cost, something they have to accept and move forward from. The question isn't whether they can undo the damage completely. It's whether they can salvage anything meaningful from the wreckage and start building toward a future that makes sense with Cooper Flagg as their centerpiece. And that means finding a trade partner willing to take on a significant contract for a talented but injury-prone veteran. Here's where the pieces start falling into place for the Lakers. Los Angeles has the infrastructure, the supporting cast, and most importantly, the organizational culture to maximize the talents of a returning star. Think about what made that player so effective during his time with the Lakers before. He had LeBron James creating opportunities. He had shooters spacing the floor. He had a defensive system that utilized his unique abilities, and he had the pressure of playing for a championship organization, pushing him to his absolute best. All of those elements are still in place in Los Angeles, and adding that caliber of talent back into the mix could instantly elevate the Lakers from playoff contenders to legitimate championship threats. The fit makes too much sense from both sides to ignore. Dallas needs to move an expensive veteran who doesn't align with their timeline. The Lakers need another star to pair with LeBron and maximize their championship window while LeBron is still performing at an elite level. It's the kind of trade scenario where both teams can walk away feeling like they got what they needed, even if the values aren't perfectly equal. Dallas gets to accelerate their rebuild and clear the books, while Los Angeles gets a proven champion who knows the system, knows the organization, and knows what it takes to win in purple and gold. Let me address the elephant in the room that everyone's thinking about. Yes, there are injury concerns. Injury. A 32-year-old big man with a history of missing games is absolutely a risk factor that has to be considered. But I want you to think about this from a Lakers perspective. Do you want to play it safe and watch this championship window close without taking a swing at adding elite talent? Or do you want to be aggressive? Bring back a player who's already proven he can win at the highest level in the system, and trust your medical staff and training infrastructure to manage his health. For me, the answer is obvious. Championship teams take calculated risks, and this is exactly the kind of calculated risk that could pay off with banner number 18. The trade package is where things get fascinating from a negotiations standpoint. Dallas isn't going to get anywhere close to what they gave up, but they still need to get something of value back to justify the move to their fan base. The Lakers have assets that could work in a deal structure, young players on team-friendly contracts, future draft picks that become more valuable if this trade works out and extends the championship window, and the kind of role players that Dallas could flip for additional assets as they continue their rebuild. Rob Pelinka has proven he knows how to structure deals that work for both sides, and this is exactly the kind of complex negotiation where his experience as an agent before becoming general manager gives him an edge. From a basketball strategy perspective, bringing back this caliber of player solves multiple problems for the Lakers. Simultaneously, it gives you another dominant presence in the paint who can protect the rim defensively and create mismatches offensively. It takes pressure off LeBron to carry the offensive load every single night, allowing him to pick his spots and stay fresh for the playoff run. It gives you lineup flexibility to go big or small depending on matchups. And most importantly, it gives you the kind of proven playoff performer who thrives in high-pressure moments when championships are on the line. The timing of all this makes perfect sense when you zoom out and look at the bigger picture. We're approaching the February trade deadline, which is when teams make their most significant midseason moves. Dallas is facing pressure to show their fans a clear path forward after firing their general manager and admitting the Luka trade was a disaster. The Lakers are evaluating their championship chances and looking for ways to maximize this season. While LeBron is still playing at an MVP level, all the pieces are aligned for something major to happen. I need to be clear about something important. This isn't about dwelling on the past or rehashing old debates about whether that player should have left in the first place. That trade happened. Everyone moved forward. And now circumstances have created an opportunity for a reunion that makes basketball sense for both organizations. The question isn't about fixing past mistakes. It's about capitalizing on current opportunities to build a championship roster. And right now, there's an opportunity sitting in Dallas that could transform the Lakers' title odds overnight. Let's talk about what this would mean for the Western Conference landscape. The Lakers are currently competing in one of the most loaded conferences in NBA history. You've got the defending champions. You've got teams like Denver and Phoenix with established cores. You've got young, hungry teams in Oklahoma City and Memphis coming up fast. Adding another superstar-level talent tips the scales dramatically in the Lakers' favor. It gives you the kind of top-heavy talent that historically wins championships, where you have multiple players capable of taking over games when it matters most. The development of this situation over the next few weeks is going to be absolutely crucial. Dallas needs to evaluate their offers, figure out what kind of return they can realistically get, and make a decision about their direction moving forward. The Lakers need to assess whether they're willing to part with the assets required to make a deal happen and whether they believe they can keep a 32-year-old big man healthy through a championship run. Those are complex calculations involving medical evaluations, contract analysis, and projections about championship windows that go way beyond simple player comparisons. Here's what I'm watching closely as this situation develops. First, how aggressive is Dallas in shopping their veteran pieces? Are they content to wait until summer, or do they want to make moves before the February deadline? Second, what's the market like for a player of this caliber with injury concerns? Are other teams willing to get into a bidding war, or does that narrow the field to just a few potential destinations? Third, how much are the Lakers willing to give up? Rob Pelinka has shown he's willing to be aggressive when championship opportunities present themselves, but he's also protective of the team's long-term flexibility. Finding that balance is going to be critical. The infrastructure question is worth spending time on because it's such a crucial part of this equation. The Lakers have invested heavily in their medical staff, training facilities, and player development programs specifically to handle situations like this. When you're adding a veteran player with injury history, you need organizational systems in place to manage that effectively. Los Angeles has exactly those systems, which gives them a competitive advantage over other teams who might be interested but don't have the same infrastructure. That's not a small thing. It's actually one of the most important factors in determining whether this kind of trade succeeds or fails. The financial implications are complex but manageable from the Lakers' perspective. Yes, you're taking on a significant contract, but you're doing so with the understanding that this is about maximizing your championship window right now. The salary cap considerations, luxury tax implications, and long-term flexibility all factor into the decision-making process. But when you're the Lakers and you have a legitimate shot at winning a championship, those financial concerns take a back seat to basketball success. This organization has never been shy about spending money to win titles, and I don't expect that philosophy to change now. Public statements from both organizations over the next few weeks are going to be fascinating to monitor. You'll hear Dallas say they're not in a hurry to move pieces, that they want to remain competitive, that they're evaluating all options. That's standard negotiating tactics designed to protect trade value. You'll hear the Lakers maintain their confidence in the current roster while keeping their options open behind the scenes. That's also standard practice. What matters isn't what gets said publicly. It's what's happening in private conversations between front offices as they work through the complex details of a potential deal. The player himself is going to have some say in how this unfolds. At this stage of his career, at this level of accomplishment, no team is trading for him without some assurance that he's on board with the destination. And if you're that player, looking at your options, considering where you want to spend the next phase of your career, Los Angeles has to be at the very top of the list. You know the system, you know the organization, you have history and relationships there, and you have a proven track record of success in purple and gold. That's not something you can replicate anywhere else. The championship implications of pulling off this move cannot be overstated. We're talking about potentially creating a Big Three scenario with LeBron, this returning star, and the supporting cast that's already in place. That's the kind of top-heavy talent distribution that wins titles in today's NBA. You need multiple players who can dominate games, who opposing defenses have to game plan specifically for, who can take over in crucial playoff moments. Adding another player of that caliber transforms the Lakers from a good team that might make noise in the playoffs to a legitimate championship favorite. I want to address the Lakers faithful directly because I know there are going to be mixed feelings about this potential development. Some of you never wanted that player to leave in the first place and would welcome him back with open arms. Some of you have moved on and built attachments to the current roster. Both perspectives are valid, but here's what I need you to understand. This isn't about sentiment or loyalty or past relationships. This is about winning championship number 18. This is about maximizing LeBron's remaining years at an elite level. This is about putting the Lakers in the best possible position to compete for titles right now. And if bringing back a proven champion accomplishes that goal, then it's absolutely the right basketball decision regardless of personal feelings. The negotiations themselves are going to be fascinating to follow. Rob Pelinka versus whoever Dallas has, leading their basketball operations decisions in the wake of Harrison's firing. Both sides have leverage in different ways. Dallas has the asset that multiple teams would want, but they're also operating from a position where everyone knows they want to move pieces and rebuild. The Lakers have the advantage of being a preferred destination and having the infrastructure to maximize that player's remaining prime years, but they also can't appear too desperate or the asking price goes up. It's high-stakes poker, where both sides are trying to extract maximum value while getting a deal done that works. The Western Conference is watching all of this unfold with great interest because adding this level of talent to the Lakers shifts the entire competitive balance. Teams that thought they had a clear path to the finals suddenly have to reassess. Teams that were planning their own moves might accelerate timelines. Teams that were confident in their roster construction might start looking for upgrades. One move at the top of the food chain creates ripple effects throughout the entire conference, and this would be a massive splash that forces everyone else to react. The deadline is February, which gives both sides several weeks to work through details, conduct medical evaluations, negotiate asset packages, and finalize terms. That's actually perfect timing because it allows Dallas to really explore the market and see what offers come in, while giving the Lakers time to have internal discussions about how aggressive they want to be and what they're willing to give up. Rushed deals rarely work out well for either side, so having adequate time to do this properly benefits everyone involved. Now I want to hear from you, the Lakers faithful. Would you welcome Anthony Davis back to Los Angeles if Dallas makes him available? Do you think the injury concerns are worth the risk for a player of his caliber? I'll be bringing you every development, every twist, every piece of insider information as soon as it breaks. We're tracking this situation minute by minute because it could literally reshape the Lakers' championship odds overnight. Share this video with every Lakers fan you know, get the discussion going in the comments, and let's ride this wave together as Lakers Nation. Until next time, let's go. Lakers!